What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm netalliance, and today I'm bringing you another top 10, and today it is going to be the best Star Wars lightsabers in canon. Now, as many of you may know, there are a ton of lightsabers that are not in canon, so if you'd like to see maybe a video on the top 10 lightsabers and legends, let me know in the comments below. Now, this rank is going to be based on how the saber is designed, how practical it is, and how cool it is overall, just so you know the parameters of how I'm judging these lightsabers. And as always, for more Star Wars videos, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications. I'll love you forever. So with that said and out of the way, let's begin. Now, starting off at number 10, I have Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Now, the crossguard lightsaber, when it was first introduced, when the Force Awakens trailer came out, I was kind of like, why? Why does it look like that? It's kind of looks dumb. But as time has gone on, I've actually grown to like it a little bit more. And I think a lot of the Star Wars fan base has actually taken a liking to it too. Now, the reason I have it at number 10, because although I do think it looks cool, as far as practicality comes, it really just doesn't have any purpose. Now, take it from me, if you haven't actually used the crossguard lightsaber in combat, or you actually haven't seen anyone try to fight with it besides Kylo Ren, you can be trained in how to fight with it and how to use it, but essentially your fighting style has to just be strong, heavy hits, because the smaller crossguard blades get in the way whenever you do anything, so you could actually end up slicing yourself pretty easily if you're not trained with this thing. So like I mentioned, although the crossguard may look really cool, when it comes down to its actual practical use, it just doesn't make sense. You might as well just use a regular lightsaber. You don't have to worry about those crossguard blades, and you can have faster movement as well as being able to use more duelist techniques instead of just slashing and slashing and slashing. For although you'll have heavier hits, when it comes down to it, it just makes you slower overall, and you don't want to be slow in a lightsaber fight. Moving on to number 9, I have Yoda's little lightsaber. Now, the reason why I have this one here is because it's just a little tiny lightsaber. You know what I mean? It's so tiny, and I think it'd just be cool to have that thing like in your back pocket, you know? So you'd have your main lightsaber, and you'd fight with that. You might even have a secondary lightsaber, and then if both of those were broken, or you don't have them, boom, you can just like reach into your back pocket, or even like stick this thing in your shoe and be like, aha, I have a little tiny guy now, you know, a little dagger lightsaber. So that's why I put this on here. As far as practicality goes, you're much more quicker with this thing. You can kind of conceal it better, so that's good. But in a actual combat with a longer lightsaber, you might have some problems if you aren't a little guy running around. You know, if you're a normal human being fighting another human being and they have a big lightsaber and you have this small little dagger, you might have more problems trying to get closer because the bigger lightsaber would most likely overpower you. So overall, I have this lightsaber at number 9 because although it is awesome for how tiny it is, overall, when the practicality comes down to it, you don't really need it. You might as well just store a bigger one with you. At number 8, I have Qui-Gon's lightsaber. Now, the reason I have this at number 8 is because although its practical use is a standard lightsaber, like if you look at Qui-Gon's lightsaber, it's the plain idea of a lightsaber. You know, one of the best things about this lightsaber is that you can grip anywhere on the hilt. One of the things that always bothered me about Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber is there's this little piece that jets out. So essentially, when you're holding the lightsaber, you got to either hold it awkwardly, or you have to hold it at the base, or you have to hold it at the top. And to hold it at the top and the bottom is just kind of odd. So that's why I have Qui-Gon's lightsaber on here. Now, although it is a standard lightsaber, it just kind of looks a little boring. Let's be honest. I mean, it is a interesting design. It's pretty much plain, so it makes it still like cool. It is just plain like that, especially once we get further down the list and you see more of the unique stuff. So although I'd rank its practicality really high, I'd have to rank its look and overall coolness factor relatively low because it is just a standard hilt. Now for number 7, I have Palpatine's lightsaber. Now the reason I really like Palpatine's lightsaber is because although its practicality is essentially the same as Qui-Gon's, it's really shiny and cool. You know, it looks pristine. It's like a rich person's blade, which makes sense. Palpatine is a rich motherfucker. One of the coolest things about this lightsaber is the fact that the hilt actually complements the lightsaber color, and the lightsaber color complements the hilt, so it goes together really nice and looks pretty. So overall, it's just a very beautiful package. Now moving on to number 6, I have Mace Windu's lightsaber. Now the reason I have Mace Windu's lightsaber and Palpatine's lightsaber so close together is because they're essentially the same on my list. But when it comes down to it, I like the gold and silver accents with the purple lightsaber a little bit more than I like Palpatine's look. So essentially, one of the coolest things about Mace Windu's lightsaber is not only does he have the purple blade, but it's also chromed out. It's got silver, it's got gold, it's got all this different accents on it. It looks really cool. So that's why it's at number 6. At number 5, we have Darth Maul's lightsaber from episode 1, the staff lightsaber. Now this is one of those cases where the practicality doesn't really make sense as much as I wish it would. And you may be thinking, netalliance, what do you mean by that statement? What I mean by this is that although it is a really cool lightsaber, to actually learn how to use this lightsaber effectively, it would take years and years and years of training. Now you'd think it would be really easy to use a lot of lightsabers, especially the standard ones like Qui-Gon's or Mace Windu's or Palpatine's, the ones like that. But when you get into the crossbar lightsabers and the staff blade lightsabers and even like the pike lightsabers, you know, stuff like that, it's tough to use those because there's more going on. Not only are you worrying about one lightsaber, but now you're worrying about a second one, and you want to make sure you don't cut yourself accidentally, because if you slice yourself with a lightsaber, chances are you're probably dead, unless of course you're Maul, in which case the fans will bring you back. But with this lightsaber staff, although I'd rank the cool factor super high, when it comes down to the actual practicality, it's super low, so that's why it's number 5 on my list. At number 4, I'm going to be dipping into the Star Wars Rebels series for this one, and I actually picked Ezra's lightsaber from season 1 and 2. Now, right off the bat, the main reason why I have this lightsaber at number 4 is because it doubles as a gun and a lightsaber. So you wouldn't have to carry a lightsaber and a gun, you could have just a lightsaber gun. And having something that can do melee combat as well as something range combat is very effective. So when it comes down to the practicality, that's actually really cool, but the look of it is kind of lame, at least in my opinion. So when it comes down to the cool factor, that's what kind of drags it down a little more. But I gotta say, if I was in Star Wars and I was a Jedi, or even if I was a Sith, I would definitely opt for a lightsaber gun. I just think that'd be so much more practical and so much more better just to carry one weapon overall instead of 2 different weapons, which can hold you down, it can get in your way, stuff like that. So that's why it's at number 4 on this list. Now for number 3, I'm going to be reaching into the Star Wars Rebels once again, and I'm picking out the Inquisitor's lightsabers. Now when it comes down to it, I think overall the practicality wise and coolness factor is probably the highest when it comes to those lightsabers, but there are 2 different lightsabers coming up that I think are a little bit better, but of course we'll get to those when we get to those. Now some of the best features about these Inquisitor lightsabers, the fact that you can go a single blade, you can go dual blade, or you can even have that dual blade spin super fast like a lightsaber ring, which if you know how to use that, you can use it very effectively, almost like a giant red shield. However, if you don't know how to use that, you could end up killing yourself relatively easy. Now one of the things about this lightsaber that improves upon Maul's staff lightsaber is that it's a smaller hilt, so overall you don't have this massive lengthy hilt in your way if you want to go one blade. So the practical use is much better. Plus, if you use the lightsabers and you make them spin fast enough, you can actually fly, so that can help you get to places faster. And although that feature doesn't particularly help you with combat, if you need to get away from combat quickly, you can use that feature to get away relatively good and quick. And that's why I have the Inquisitor's lightsaber at number 3. Now at number 2, guess what guys? I'm reaching back into Rebels, and the reason why I'm doing this is to bring Maul's cane saber. The reason why I really like this lightsaber is because essentially it doubles as a cane and a lightsaber. Hence the name Lightsaber Cane. But one of the coolest parts about it is essentially you can just fool anyone. You could be walking with this cane and someone would be like, oh, here comes this old man just walking with this, oh god, he stabbed me. Whoa, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm gonna die, but it's still pretty cool. And although it isn't as flashy as the Inquisitor lightsaber or as practical as Ezra's lightsaber, in certain situations I think it's overall just more effective. Plus, I think it looks pretty cool. And it's for those reasons I have it at number 2 on this list. Now for number 1, I have Count Dooku's lightsaber. Now for me, I'm a little biased when it comes to Dooku's lightsaber. The reason is because the curved lightsaber hilt is just so useful when you're using a Makashi fighting style. Now the reason I say that is because I actually use the Makashi fighting style in my lightsaber tournaments with the Net Squad. So if you want to check that out, there'll be a video at the top of your screen, you can look at that, you can see my fighting style. Now one of the coolest things about the curved lightsaber hilt is that if you hold your hands higher towards the blade, you can actually use it like a standard lightsaber. Or if you want to get back on defense, maybe you got a couple different opponents you're trying to defend against, you can keep one hand further towards the base of the lightsaber hilt, which gives you more distance between your opponents and yourself. And it essentially extends your lightsaber length, even though it really doesn't extend the length at all. But when it comes down to it, it gives you that extra space. And in the combat situation, extra space is always a good thing. So besides its practical use being a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, it also looks really cool too. I really like the idea of a curved hilt. When I was a kid, I thought it was kind of lame, but once I actually found out the reason for why it was curved, it made it 10 times more cooler. Plus, like I said, the curved lightsaber hilt complements my fighting style. And it's for all these reasons I have Dooku's lightsaber at number 1 on my list. But of course, that's just my opinion. What are your top lightsabers? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe for more Star Wars videos. And until next time guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.